tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks since Alex Preddy was fatally shot by Border Patrol agents. Now, videos of that incident in Minneapolis, as well as the shooting of Renee Nicole Good, have been shown countless times on social media, and it can be tough to process on your own. So here we have, to try to find some healthy ways of going about this, we have Nicole Durbin with Family Resources. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So the first thing that we have, you have a lot of parents who are saying that the current political climate may feel stressful and more intense than ever.
Yep.
So what are some of the things that you're seeing as you have families attempting to get through this right now?
Yeah, so just in my own work and in my own social relationships, you know, everybody's stressed, right? They don't know how to talk about it, even with their adult children or with the itty bitties. And so we talk about healthy media consumption, healthy stress, how to maybe put our phones down, how to consume less media, right? So it's really normalizing that people are stressed, and then how do we deal with it?
And as somebody who has younger siblings, I mean, I can relate to the social media
Sure.
part. I'm not a parent just yet. I mean, I don't want to put that out there. But one of those things, you have parents talking to their children and social media playing such a big part. I guess, what are some of the ways that you can sort of manage that?
Yeah, so I think what's important for parents to know is kids are going to absorb stress even if we don't name it. So our job as parents or adults, if you don't have kids, is to model good behavior around stress. So what I try and do in my own life, because I do have kids, I have a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old, is when I'm stressed, I tell them I'm stressed. But here's what I'm doing to manage it. I don't necessarily need to tell them why I'm stressed, especially if it's an adult thing to be stressed about. I want to have good boundaries around my kids developmentally. Like, I'm not going to talk to my 7-year-old about the same things I would talk to my 13-year-old about, right? There's just different developmental levels. And we want to make sure that we are understanding that and only exposing them to the things that they can handle. But I want to tell them it's okay to be stressed as long as we know how to talk about it, how to validate those feelings, and then how do we manage it? So as parents, we want to be curious. We want to seek to understand. If we're noticing that kids are having behaviors because they're stressed, let's ask questions about it. Like, tell me what you saw. Open-ended questions, not questions where a kid can be like, yes, no, Mom, I don't want to talk about it. You know, you want to be able to have a healthy conversation with your kids.
It seems like, because you had those examples of, like, you know, the kid being very short, I guess, you know, it may almost be like, I guess, pulling teeth, would I assume?
It
to
could
try to
be.
get them to get involved.
Depends on the kid, really. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, obviously, you were talking about phones. Social media, notifications, I mean, they make it almost extremely hard to unplug. How can you sort of set these, like, healthy boundaries when it comes to media consumption? It's something that we all kind of deal with on an everyday basis.
Yeah, so we want to be really intentional, right? So boundaries are not punishment. Boundaries are to keep kids safe. Boundaries are to allow you as a parent to ensure that, again, my 7-year-old is consuming a different level than my 13-year-old because they're developmentally different. So not only do we want to have those healthy boundaries, so screen-free time, maybe, you know, depends on the family, right? So is screen-free time during X hours? And then when do you limit time that they are on their screens? Can you co-view their screens with them, right? Pay attention to what your kids are actually watching. And then us, if we tell our kids, hey, it's screen-free time, but then they look over and we're on our phones scrolling through Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it is, then we're not modeling that behavior. So we have to be good examples ourselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, got to be the example in that situation.
For sure.
Because if you're trying to model these behaviors for them.
Kids pay attention. They are like sponges. They are absorbing that. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, stay with us because the conversation will continue right after this short break. All right, welcome back into GMQ Sat 11. Nicole Durbin here with Family Resources. Before the break, we were obviously talking about social media. Yeah. And I guess now we want to switch it more towards the everyday life. Does that mean that's really what we're all sort of going through?
Yeah.
So what are some of the signs that you may see for a kid who's overwhelmed and they're not always the best communicators?
Yeah.
So they're not saying it out loud, I guess. What are some of the things that we can still be monitoring and tracking in those instances?
Yeah, so adults, teachers, parents, anybody in a kid's life needs to remember that behavior is communication. Now, we have kids that will yap, 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 tell you how they feel all day long, but for the most part, remember, behavior is communication. So if there's changes in sleep or appetite, if they're increased irritability, just any any major change in a behavior is a signal. It's not always a problem, but it might be a signal that there's something wrong. So I tell parents, you know your kids best, right? Like some type of behavior in one kid may be completely normal as opposed to another kid. But if you know your kids best and you notice a change in that behavior, or if they become increasingly distressed, then that is a sign that maybe we need some extra support in our lives.
Knowing your kid, obviously a very important part, but you also have to be able to know yourself. And when you're someone who's the head of the household, what are some of the things that you can do just when you're going through a difficult time or you're stressed, and you have to be able to be on top of that?
Yep. So regulated adults help regulate kids, right? So back to what I said earlier, we have to model good behavior. So you need to create routines in your life that help you manage your own stress. And again, self-care or taking care of ourselves isn't selfish. We're setting ourselves up to be able to take care of others, and we're modeling that behavior for our kids. So for example, in my family, when my husband and I need to talk about something stressful that we don't necessarily want to expose our kids to, we take the dog for a walk.
Okay.
I mean, I have a 13-year-old that can stay home with a 7-year-old though, so that may not be something that every family can do, but just create little routines that help offer outlets for those conversations away from your kids, but also offer options for calmness. Family meals, sticking to routines. Routines are really important for kids because what they need from adults is consistency, and they need adults to listen to them.
You're just talking about family. Politics can always play a big role. You know, we're past Thanksgiving and Christmas right now, but you have the extended family, and there's always different points of views and stuff like that. So when you are trying to, I guess, teach a kid, I guess, how to navigate those situations, just so that they're not maybe like swarmed up into those sorts of things, I guess, what were some of the advice you would have for that?
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we teach respect and emotional safety, not debate. We absolutely want to teach our kids how to handle tough conversations, but they are not at a place where they are developmentally ready to take a side and debate that. But what you can teach them is shared values. What are your family values? Why do we have these particular values? Why are they important? And we also want to teach kids it's okay to step away from a conversation that is headed in a direction that they feel uncomfortable with. We don't want kids to always avoid uncomfortable conversations. Like when we talk to kids about standing up to bullies, we absolutely want to be able to do that. But they don't need to be involved in a political debate because they're kids, right? That's not what we need. So we want to teach them how to have healthy disagreement without harm.
You don't really need them throwing the food at the Thanksgiving table.
No,
you don't want to set that sort of precedent.
idea.
That's not the greatest footsteps you want to create. So when it comes to a parent who is worrying about their child emotionally, if they're coming to the decision that it may be time to seek professional help, what are some of the things that may be available to them, and what can family resources do to step in?
Absolutely. So we always want to get to issues before they become a crisis, right? So again, if your kid is dysregulated or you're noticing something that's becoming a pattern and it's ongoing, maybe longer than a couple weeks, I mean, every kid has a bad day, right? But every adult has a bad day. But if it's a consistent pattern and we're noticing that this just isn't resolving itself, we want to get some help. What that help looks like depends on the level of severity. But at Family Resources, we offer counseling for kids, adults, teens, parents, you name it, we have that. We also work closely with all the other providers in the community. So if you call us and we're not the agency to help you, we know who is. So we'll be able to help you get to the right place and get those appointments set up to deal with whatever issue that you guys might be facing.
Got it. Real quick, before we let you go, is there any other things last minute things you can add for people, contact information, or just anything else you think they should know?
You can always look us up on our website, www.famres.org. Maybe I added too many W's there. And then we have a crisis line on our website that folks can call. And you don't have to be in an immediate crazy crisis. It is a line that you can call no matter what the level of issue is. So please don't think you have to be in a crisis. Just call us and we will help.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
All right, GMQC at 11, we'll be right back.